this might have not been a good idea. Hey everyone, Demonite here. In this video I'll be answering all of the questions you lovely people asked me in my 10,000 subscribers Q&A video, so let's get started. What is your favorite moon of Saturn? That's a good question, glad you asked. So it's not Hyperion, instead it's the big guy, Titan. I really like this moon because I think it's the most interesting moon in our entire solar system. It's the only moon that has a thick atmosphere and has lakes of liquid ethane and methane, and it's just beautiful in its own way in my opinion. But enough of me nerding out. What features/mechanics from previous titles do you wish to return in Borderlands 3, or maybe any new features you'd personally enjoy? So I actually made a few videos regarding things I would like to see in Borderlands 3 a few years ago. I'll link the playlist in the description. Basically I'd like to see both relics and Oz kits return, but give relics a little twist to make them more interesting. Melee weapons and armor are new things I'd like to see, and then just some stuff like better designed weapon cards and so on. What are your top 3 favorite games of all time? So number 1 is Borderlands 2, but for the others it's a hard choice. I like a ton of games a lot, like TPS, Dark Souls 3, Terraria, Undertale and more, but just for nostalgia's sake I'm gonna go with Jet Set Radio Future. I played that a lot when I was a little kid and have many good memories about it, so it deserves to be number 2. For number 3 just pick any of the other games. Favorite character type, like kill skill focused, healing, pet, etc. So that's gonna be pet characters for me, or more specifically anything with friendly AI. Turrets are my favorite type of friendly AI, but anything from literal pets over duplicates of yourself to mind controlled enemies is awesome. Does the idea of having a character with a similar playstyle to Axton interest you in Borderlands 3, or would you prefer to have whole new builds from the ground up? Or both? Both. I don't want anything to feel recycled, but I also still want classes that feel as strategic as Axton with similar abilities. How long did you cry when Opportunity's mission was declared complete? I'm not crying, you're crying. What's your favorite and most played Axton build? And do you like rabbits? Sure I guess. Never played any games of them though. For Axton builds, my most used one would probably be my Soldier Axton build, because it's just so versatile and good in almost every situation, and of course also fun to use. My favorite used to be Kill Skill Axton until I found out that the Legendary Ranger doesn't work properly, so I'm not 100% sure which one it is now. Soldier, Grenade and Assault Rifle Axton are all great. Grenade Axton I like because it's just a really high damage build utilizing different sources of damage with grenades and TDR reloads, and TDR guns are of course also my favorite type of guns. Assault Rifle Axton is cool because of all the overlooked synergy Axton has with some assault rifles and the B shield. And of course I still like Kill Skill Axton. So maybe I'm leaning a bit more towards Grenade Axton, but that's not a definite answer. How did you become an Axton god? While you went outside and had a social life, I studied the turret. While you spent time working on an actual career, I practiced the turret. Okay, I'll stop. Favorite Wharf planet, and do you like the Metro games? Probably Ceres because of Warframe, but also because it's in the asteroid belt, which is awesome. I never played any of the Metro games, but I did watch a let's play of one many years ago and I really liked it, so yeah, good story, fun looking gameplay. I like them, but probably not something I'd specifically buy. What do you think about Krieg and his problem with kill skills in the endgame? Not sure what exactly this is referring to, maybe his reliability on kill skills to get rolling? I think it's just part of his design and not a problem, just something to overcome for a high reward gameplay. Personally, I prefer more constant damage, but I still enjoy that aspect of Krieg. Are you planning to play Dark Souls 3 more? Yes, I still want to make various builds for PvP, and as far as making videos about it goes, I might make more videos on killing bosses. One I was thinking about was NG+7 bosses as a very high level sorcerer for max damage, while using absolutely nothing but sorceries. Then maybe at some point the same for pyromancies and miracles, but that's only assuming I still play the game for that long. Also, I actually started a NPC only playthrough that I was recording, but that was before I got a new mic, so I kinda dropped it. Maybe I'll restart that one, let me know if anyone would be interested. Is English hard? Not as difficult as learning German, I think. But yeah, pronunciation can be hard for me. Some people say they like my accent, but I don't. Favorite JoJo, villain, minor villain, villain group, OP, ally, part, Joestar group, stand per part, and why part 8 still doesn't have a main villain. Here we go, the JoJo fans have arrived. So I actually have not read part 6 and 8 yet and only read like the first quarter or less of part 7, so I can only go off of the parts I already know. Favorite JoJo would probably be Jotaro because he's badass, edgy, and because he's a main character in 3 parts, whereas a lot of other JoJos are only relevant in their own part. His character is definitely not as bland as some people claim it to be, and I'm really excited to see him again in part 6 eventually. Favorite villain absolutely goes to Kira. He's not this megalomaniac who's hungry for power like Dio, Cars, or Diavolo are. He just wants to have a quiet life and go unrecognized as this average dude living an average life, but of course with the occasional outburst of him killing people. Villains like Dio definitely have their purpose and are great as well, but Kira is just a nice change of pace. For my favorite stands, I always love the stands of the main antagonists the most, because they're the most intimidating and the whole part leads up to them. To pick my favorite of them though, it's gonna be Dio's The World. Okay, for everything else, I'll just make it a little bit quicker to not bore non-JoJo fans. Favorite part, part 3. Favorite ally, Bruno Buccellati. Favorite Joestar group, Stardust Crusaders. Favorite minor villain, Whole Horse. Favorite villain group, The Pillar Man. Favorite OP, part 3's second OP with Dio at the end. And why part 8 still doesn't have a villain. What do you think about the Beastmaster in Borderlands 3 and will you main him like you main Axton in Borderlands 2? So far, he's definitely on the more interesting side of things. Of course, the main thing I'm interested in are his pets and how you can build around them. And will I main him? Hard to tell right now, but him and Zane are the two I can imagine playing the most, but of course that could completely change once the game is actually here. What is your favorite farming run from all current Borderlands games? I'd say farming Hunter Hellquist for a B shield, because that reminds me of the good old days when I was new to the game and the B was this godlike item everyone wanted to have. Will you be making videos about Borderlands 1 Remastered? Probably not. It would just take a lot of time for me to get into Borderlands 1 mechanics as deep as I am in Borderlands 2 and TPS, and Borderlands 1 is also just not as interesting to me. As you can see, compared to Borderlands 2, I barely played it at all. I might get a bit more into it at some point, but no promises. Where does the name Demonite come from, and what made you stick with Axton after hearing everyone talk about how mediocre he was? The name comes from the game Terraria, where Demonite is just an ore that you can mine and craft items out of. Now what made me stick with Axton was the fact that a lot of the problems about him that people listed online were not affecting me, and so I already had doubts about everything people said about him. And that then turned into motivation to prove people wrong about certain things, and that made me make the videos my channel is known for, and I think it kinda worked because a lot of people are agreeing that Axton is everything but mediocre now. I require you to say the word thingy a few times. You're gonna make this a meme on my channel, aren't you? Thingy, 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 thingy. What would you say is the thing about the reveal trailer that interests you the least? So that's an interesting question which I haven't really thought about before. I guess it's honestly just the new villains. I don't think they're bad, I don't think they aren't interesting, but I just find everything else like the new World Hunters, the new locations and of course the new guns more interesting. Will you ever play Rainbow Six Siege? Nah, don't think so. What character will you start playing in Borderlands 3? I'll be playing all of them for sure, but as for my first char, as I said before, so far it's pointing towards Flag, but Zane is looking pretty good as well. What makes you choose Axton? The best thing about Axton for me is his turret. I love friendly AI in general thanks to it, I love the strategic aspect about it, and to me it's the most fun action skill in all current Borderlands games. Also I love everything else about Axton as well of course. His abilities with grenades and TDR reloads, his hidden synergies with splash guns, and his build and gear versatility. Do you think Borderlands 2 would be better with or without all of the exploits players use like B glitching? I'm planning on making a video about glitches specifically and how I differentiate between passive and forced glitches. Forced glitches are things like infinitely stacking rising shot, which I obviously think doesn't need to be in the game. However, passive glitches are stuff like the bee affecting unlisted projectiles, which just isn't preventable and more of a hidden mechanic in the game, so I don't have any problem with it. Of course, having a glitch-free game would be ideal, but that is pretty much impossible. What is your favorite film and TV show? Favorite film would be Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, because it's the pinnacle of Star Wars movies and you can't change my mind. Favorite TV show would be SpongeBob SquarePants, because it truly was as perfect as people say and a huge part of my childhood. How do you feel about the Borderlands 1 loot system compared to Borderlands 2 and TPS? Can't really say much about it because I'm not as familiar with it as I am with BL2s. What do you think of the Tales spin-off? It's awesome and I definitely recommend people to play it. It does have some potential plot holes that kinda mess with the already established story, but it's not like the other Borderlands games are free of those. Who is the worst character in the Borderlands series and why is it Salvador? Because he has way too many absolutely broken skills, including his action skill, which probably can't even be fixed because of how the game works, so it was just flawed from the beginning. Some people say he is well designed at core, but just very poorly executed, but the same could be said about all of Gage's problems. Also, I would put Gage above Nisha as well, plus Gage has death traps, so your argument is invalid. Are you interested in speedrunning? If so, what games and categories are you interested in? I never did a speedrun before, but I like to watch GTA and Jet Set Radio Future speedruns. If I'd ever do one, then on JSRF, but I probably won't. As for categories, everything that deserves to be a category, I guess. What happened to Man of Low Moral Fiber? What interested you the most about Borderlands 3? The new Vault Hunters and what kind of builds I can make with them. What did you think of the entire Gearbox presentation at PAX? I felt sorry for Randy, but it was alright, definitely got the hype going once we did see the trailer. Do you think there's a chance of loot boxes or purchasable items / gear appearing in Borderlands 3? I don't think so. If anything, it's gonna be something we have already seen before, like shift codes and rewards for owning other games. Which fanbase has the strongest smell? For video games, all of them suck equally. What has annoyed you the most in the Borderlands series? Probably that the difficulty in TPS dropped so drastically, and I'm afraid Borderlands 3 won't be on the same level as Borderlands 2 either. What do you think about Borderlands 3 possibly going to the Epic Store? Well, it's confirmed now and it sucks pretty hard. Name a game you played and a crazy hype moment you had in that game. When I finally unlocked all characters in Jet Set Radio Future as a kid. Also when I beat Voracitus on OP8 the first time legit and solo, but that still didn't top JSRF. How is life going for you and how are you? Life is stressful, busy and also very annoying right now, but you know, when isn't it? Otherwise I'm doing pretty fine, thanks. Do you watch anime? Yeah, I watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and I also watched The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra if you want to count those. What is your opinion of Lilith not having her powers in one part of the reveal when she is crawling? I'm looking forward to seeing her helplessly laying on the floor, like that one time when the lava was rising. Jokes aside, it'll be interesting to see what Tyreen does to her to take them away, and if those powers are somehow transferred to her brother or something along those lines. Who is your waifu? The Saber-Turret, of course. Is Axton the father of Maya's child? Axton wouldn't cheat on his girlfriend. Is the forum still going at all? Seems like it kinda died out after they switched sides. And if it's not, do you think it will get going again with Free coming out? A lot of the stuff from the old forums got carried over and lots of people have made new things, including myself. Nowadays I'm pretty much never on it anymore, to be completely honest, but as far as I can tell, it is still active. Can you say Katzelschworf? How's your day? Pretty good, thanks. What's your favorite type of human sacrifice? This one.
That was kinda weird.
Why did you choose Axton as your speedrun character? Also, what's your favorite weapon of each rarity? With speedrun, I assume you mean speed kills? Well, I did them with all classes in Borderlands 2, even with Salvador. But since Axton is my favorite, he's the one I focused a lot on, of course. Now, favorite weapon of each rarity. Do Glitch and Seraph count as the same rarity? If so, Omen, if not, also Glitch Beam Lasers. For Pearls, it's the Avenger. For Legendaries, it's the Fastball, but if you just meant guns, then the Herald. For E-Tech, it's the Swordsplosion. For Purples, it's a Slag Transfusion or the Ravager. For Blues, it's the Hail. For Green and White, any Bandit gun I guess, because I like their skins. What is your favorite gun in the series so far and why? The Avenger in Borderlands 2 because it's TDR, insanely powerful and interesting to use. I made a video about my favorite items in Borderlands 2 before where I mention it, so I will also link that in the description below. Where are you from? I'm from Germany. What's your favorite map in any Borderlands game? That would be Hater's Folly. It just looks beautiful and the soundtrack is brilliant. The mobbing in it is decent, not my favorite to go through, but it's a linear map, so that's good. What do you reckon is the most overrated piece of equipment? In my opinion, that's the magic missile. It's just unreliable, slow and often slacks yourself, so slag transfusions are just superior. The grenade regen on them is also not enough to counter the transfusions healing. What is your least favorite / most hated equipment and enemy? My least favorite item is probably the Norfleet or E-Tech launchers in general, because they are really cheap and not engaging at all. Least favorite enemy goes to the skeleton mages in Tiny Tina's DLC. They are just horribly designed and the game would be better off without them. Is there a reason why you use the double prefix on most pistols? It's simply the best for DPS in most cases. Why did you start playing Borderlands and what made you stay? So what introduced me to Borderlands was a German YouTube channel called Pete's Meat. They did a let's play of Borderlands 1 and 2 which I watched a few parts of and got really interested in the series, so eventually I bought both games. Borderlands 2 really flashed me and at first I bought it for the Xbox 360, but not soon after I bought it again for PC and started to really play it like crazy. In general, Pete's Meat introduced me to a lot of games I played for a long time, like Realm of the Mad God, APB Reloaded and Terraria. Then there are multiple reasons why I sticked with the game for so long. At first it was just the extremely large variety of content and things to do in the game. My first goal was to get every class to max level, which I eventually did after roughly 900 hours of playtime. Then you can do things like doing all side quests, getting all achievements, soloing all raid bosses, farming all kinds of gear and of course making various builds. This game is also the reason why I got more invested in making YouTube videos and I started with speed kills and making builds. TPS also came out at the time, which I started making videos about. And eventually that led to things like OFG playthroughs, item showcase videos and perhaps the most important step of my channel, showcasing underrated things, one of which was Axton. That kept me going for a while and then I got more into game mechanics and making more detailed and fine-tuned builds until today. I played a bunch of other games during this time period as well of course, because there definitely were points where I just got too tired of the game. Nowadays I pretty rarely play Borderlands 2 just for the sake of playing and instead only record things for videos or test stuff. In TPS I still play more casually every now and then because I haven't played it nearly as much as Borderlands 2. When do you plan on starting streaming and will you live stream Borderlands 3? I did stream before but I'm not sure yet if I'm gonna pick it up again. Maybe at some point, perhaps Borderlands 3, but no promises. Will you make guides for Borderlands 3? Yes, things like builds, item showcases, game mechanics and so on. What is your job? Currently I don't have one. I'm looking to become a vet assistant and I've been to multiple vet clinics before, but sadly nothing has worked out yet. I'm starting a fresh internship in another clinic next week though, so wish me luck. What's your opinion of replaying the main storyline multiple times to get to max level? In a new game plus kind of way, I like it because it allows you to experience the game again, but this time with a character that you've already invested time in, and it allows for an increasement of difficulty. However, I think true Vault Hunter mode is pretty redundant, so I would prefer it if it was only normal mode and UVHM. Why did you infect me with your turret syndrome? Did everybody get a bullet? And did Axton use the money from the Tiny Tina DLC for man or woman? So I'm glad to hear my plan is working, and yes, everybody did indeed get a bullet. As for Axton, I suppose he takes joy from having variety. What's your favorite food or cuisine? Fast food. Might sound a bit weird, but honestly I'd take a good burger or hot dog over anything else every day. I also love schnitzel though. Do you think you'll be playing Borderlands 3 as much as Borderlands 2? I sure hope I do, but topping Borderlands 2 is gonna be really difficult. So far I've seen no other game that hooked me as much as Borderlands 2 did, so the bar is set pretty high, but I'm hoping Borderlands 3 will set it even higher. Looking for the next game, will you focus your videos more on live commentaries, speed kills, speed runs, tutorials, or just a mix of everything? Just a mix of everything, I imagine. I definitely want to do at least one commentated playthrough of the game. If the game has cool bosses that work for speed kills, I can see myself wanting to figure out ways to kill them quickly as well. Maybe not for time trials specifically, and more focused around finding cool ways to take bosses down. And as far as tutorials go, I'll absolutely be making build videos, and once the time comes, I'm sure I'll get into deeper game mechanics too. What's your favorite color and why orange? It's actually black, because it just goes well with everything and it's edgy. Now before you point out that black is a shade, if you don't want to count it, then it's red. What's your favorite pet class in the Borderlands franchise? If you count the turret as a pet, then it's Axton obviously. Now I don't know what people define as a pet class specifically, but I just use it as a synonym for friendly AI action skills. Wilhelm would be second place if that's of interest. What's your favorite turret of Saturn? Absolutely the one on his right leg. How many hours have you spent on Borderlands 2? On Steam that's 4,839. On console I probably have around 100 hours. What kind of birdseed does Jack and Maya like to eat? These. Do they get treats when they've been good birds? Has that ever happened? They're always good birds, so yes, they get treats all the time. What's your favorite move of Saturn's? Dying. In a chocolate bar, which tile or square is your favorite and why? This one. Why? A mystery it is, and a mystery it shall stay. Were you there during the Gearbox live reveal at PAX East? Yes, I joined the stream while they were talking about the teaser and then watched it to the end. Do you think we'll get to fight another giant robot called Jupiter? I don't know, but if we do, I'm hoping it's another fight that is just not talked about at all, or at least not until he actually appears, so that we can get this what the fuck moment again. Do you have any hobbies besides Borderlands and other computer games, and do you have a pet? Those questions go hand in hand together, because one of my hobbies is caring for my pets. We have 2 cats and 1 dog at home, and then I also have 2 birds, Jack and Maya, which you can sometimes hear in the background of my videos. Other than that, making videos of course, and sleeping is one of my favorite things to do in life as well. But yeah, gaming and things related to it is where it's at. What is your favorite NPC of the Borderlands franchise? Does Zero in Tails count, because he is a NPC in that game, but if he doesn't count then it's probably Jack. He's a great villain, his personality is funny, and with him being a main character in 3 of the 4 Borderlands games, he's also one of the most fleshed out characters of course. What's your favorite molecular structure? Of course, my favorite molecular structure. Oxygen? Do you think the Vault Hunters from Borderlands 3 could actually beat the TPS versions of Nisha and Wilhelm if both sides had the same scaling and optimal class setup? I assume you mean beating them as in performing better than they do? Well, beating Nisha's mobbing DPS would be difficult, and I'm hoping they don't, because that would be broken again. As for Wilhelm, I could imagine that Flag will become a pet class of similar strength. What makes a Borderlands game for you? Big, explorable and diverse worlds, fun and interesting missions, a massive variety on items, lots of endgame content, and of course unique characters that allow for a large variety of builds. Face reveal? Maybe at some point. Do you think that the operative character should have been the commander, or at least have that mecha? So far I like his design and I think it fits him. What's your favorite Vinylic Puma video? Obviously the one where he properly demonstrates why Axton is the worst character with facts and logic. Why is Sal the best character in Borderlands? Because money shot, duh. How do you pay off student loans? Oh, it's simple, I don't have any. Favorite cereal? I don't eat cereal that often, so honestly I don't really have one. Cats or dogs? Both. I mean cats, but both. If I had to pick one, it would be a cat because that requires less work, but I do love our cats and our dog equally. However, if we take birds into consideration, then those remain the superior pet. Yo, congratulations on 10 subscribers! Thanks dude, sure is a milestone. Who is your favorite character to play with snipers on? As much as I love Sniper Aurelia, I think I still slightly prefer Zero. Why don't you like Zero? I like Zero, a lot actually. Was Axton the first character you played in Borderlands 2? No, in fact it was Maya, but after just playing for a few hours with her, I made a second character which was Axton and I liked him more, so he became my main and he was the one I got to OP8 first. I can hear that you're using a new mic now, how is that treating you? Also, will we be seeing some lag-filled gun builds in the Borderlands 3 future? The mic is awesome, it's a Blue Yeti and it's really simple to use and the quality is a billion times better than that of my old mics. And if I can build around guns with lags, I will build around guns with lags. If you could live in any video game world, what would it be? Probably something like Starbound. It's just such a fun game to explore things in and I'd be all over exploring these starbound planets and stars in real life. Especially with my own spaceship and crew. Yeah, I would probably end up being killed by some hostile creature or bandits or something like that, but it would be worth it. Have you been to Canada? Nope. Do you like JoJo's? Yes. Team Fortress 2? Never played it, but the turrets look good. What kind of grind do you want in Borderlands 3? Being able to change weapon prefixes and parts would solve a lot of my grinding issues. Leveling up at higher levels could also be a little bit faster, especially TPS was just way too harsh on that in my opinion. What's your favorite moon of Jupiter? Callisto, because look at it. Io also looks pretty sick, but Callisto takes the cake. Your best weapon for Axton? The Avenger, again. Will you ever do a playthrough of any of the Borderlands? Borderlands 3 for sure, Borderlands 2 and the others I'm still not sure about. How does it feel being the greatest Borderlands YouTuber? It does feel really awesome to know that some people do actually consider me the best Borderlands YouTuber, so thanks a lot for that. What do you think about the deluxe editions for Borderlands 3 coming with equipable XP and loot drop boost mods? Personally, I don't care about the loot because it's not a competition, and I'd actually dislike using an XP booster because you'll probably end up being overleveled if you use it early on and the game becomes too easy. What changes would you make to Axton's skill tree if you were able to patch it? I made a video about that before as well, which I link in the description too. Basically, I'd buff the turret's damage and tweak a few of his worst skills, but nothing drastical because he's in a good position where he is right now, and I enjoy him this way. Who is your main Borderlands waifu outside of the turret? Saint. Which one of your many Axton builds do you think is the easiest for beginners to assemble and play going into OP levels? Early on, just build around whatever gear you currently have access to. For an easy time in Digistruct Peak, a B-Hawk build always works of course. Some easily farmed items are the Herald, Bee and Fastball, which you can refarm every few OP levels. Together with a Sandhawk, Pimpernel and or Ladyfist at any level, plus a Grog, you won't have many problems. If that's not your cup of tea, I just recommend a regular Soldier Axton build. I'll also link that in the description. If you prefer using Gemini over grenade damage skills, you can also use my Gemini Soldier version. And that was all, so this took longer to make than expected because of the sheer amount of questions. Again, thanks for 10,000 subscribers everyone, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed and as always, thanks for watching.